earlier he looks after HITCO, and now he is own entrepreneurship and doing sustainable job. Sustainable development job. And Prof. Prasun Das, ISI, Kolkata, mostly he will lead after the data analysis. And Professor Ashis Kumar, University, is geographer, and he will lead basically the coastal urbanization and the resilience in different areas. Abdul, Ghani, he will lead the community development for disaster management. Myself is Gupinath, Bhandari. I will just coordinate this program, nothing else. Thank you very much. Let us start our discussion. Why we are thinking about urban development and disaster management?
In case of urban development, what we do say is basically the development of the urbanized areas that has been notified by the government is the urban area and development therein for infrastructure and other things. As for instance, you see, there is a target for the government of India that by 2030, say about 75% of the GDP will be generated from the urban areas only. So, as you are well aware that the urban centers are very thickly populated, having per square kilometer population density is very high, and there are in one side amenities also, and there are the other side there are infrastructural development. So all these together may be called as urban development, and the disaster management is related to how the life of these urban people are being hampered from time to time, either for man-made issues or from the natural causes.
We decided that some urbanization will be done, and accordingly planning has been done. In that case, more and more disaster may occur. So, in that case, I will ask Debashis sir regarding town planning, please.
We must all understand that we must reduce greenhouse gas emissions, without which climate will change, sea levels will rise, floods will be more, Amphan, Aula, Aila, Bulbul, and so many other cyclones will keep on coming. I very strongly believe that a way of life is to do greening and sustainable development. But we can talk about that later. Suffice to say, in many places of India, in the cities, there is very little attention to drainage, and this is causing floods. Think of Chennai floods, think of Mumbai floods, think of Delhi floods, think of Newtown floods in 2017. These are absolutely urban phenomenon, and if these are not addressed properly with planning, foresight and data analytics, we will see more of such city life stoppage in the near future. Thank you.
Regarding coastal area urbanization, particularly, I will request Professor Ashis to say something, please.
Actually, urban areas are the concentration of the population, and they occupy 2% areas of the land surface, but support the 50% of the global population at present. So, what will happen in the near future? Mumbai, Cochin, on the Arabian Sea coast area, they will suffer in the near future because of the natural disasters, and there are congestions of the city areas, so the city people will suffer more in the next decades. Thank you.
Prescribed to collect, and what type of noise will be there within that data?
Catch hold of the government information, whatever best you can, because they are basically plugging the actual data, but based on the recovery stage data, because that's the impact what has happened after any disaster has come. And from there, you just trying to develop a prevention model, right? at the preparedness stage, whether it is a communication system, whether it is online training system, whatever, early prediction, early warning, early signals, and bring it to policymakers or the decision makers through analytics or whatever tool you are using, whether it is AI or not. Because as I have told you, AI is primarily composed of learning, then computer vision and the robotics. So these are primarily the domain by which people are doing a lot of things. For example, that the response stage, that is the fourth stage of the disaster management. Response stage, you primarily go for the image analysis or the sentiment analysis, NLP, natural language processing. So these are techniques. I mean, you can go for, we have done one work in tweet analysis. We have used 3000 tweets from the government data, and we have done one thing, that how tweet classification can be done, and then based on the information can be generated, that how people are responding to the disaster, what has happened. So preparedness and the response stage are very crucial stage where you can make use of the analytics, right? Whether it is AI, whether it is ML, whether it is, I mean, part of anything, or the hybrid models and all that. So there is a lot of scope. I am not going into that, we can discuss later, the technical part and all that. But I am only trying to highlight the scope and challenges. Of course there, one is of course the privacy security. Another thing I must say at this point, that one should not only depend on AI or ML or some other models. Because after all, we are human beings, we have human expertise. So AI or analytics, right, it can complement. It cannot replace human expertise. Because ultimately the deployment comes to us, right? We are building models, making use of the machines, right? How much powerful it is. And so we should not be undermined, right, over the AI or whatever it is built. So AI is just complement part of whatever thing it is doing, right? It is not that, because when the people who are, I mean, who are not very accustomed with this, right, who are not very knowledgeable, who are not very trained, who are not very aware about this, all these things, they may say that there is something called AI, there is something called analytics, give me a tool I will use and I will make my life safe. Right? It's not true. You should rely upon that, you should rely on the data, you should rely on the technique, but you should take help of the kind of tool that is getting prepared, but along with that, make use of your expertise, make use of your experience, right? And share your experience, whatever you are experiencing, right? At that ground level, wherever you are, whether it is urban, rural, at what hierarchy level of the economy, doesn't matter. So communication, information sharing, right? Reaching to the people, that's the bottom line of gathering reliable data, authentic data, and then make use of the data. Because once you put garbage, only garbage will come out, right? You will tell that this is my AI model, but it is full of garbage.
I mean, urbanization may happen in coastal belt, in river bank, in middle of the sea, different places, and climatological changes may also be there. So with this, all these parameters, how to think, regarding the town planning. I'm not talking about that, you have to explain the town planning, but how to think regarding climatology and the locations also.
Thank you. If we have the huge databases, then we can actually say that for the certain variable, the system has the resilience. So otherwise we can't do just to protect the disasters or the hazards which are created by the climate changes or created by the human impacts in the congested areas. Thank you.
We have to think once again for sustainable development, how to proceed towards that. Thank you, sir.
I have a favorite author in Yuval Harari. You may have read his books. Famous Israeli Harvard-educated educationist, urban economist. He has written 3 books, Sapiens, Homo Deus, and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. If you haven't read, please do.